I'm here with my friend Dave Jenner. Dave, thanks so much for sharing your story with us. We've known each other for a long time. Tell everybody about how we met and how long we've been friends.
So we met 25 years ago.
I remember.
Right? I met you were the guest speaker at Faith Baptist Church in Grays Lake. My family and I had gone with a coworker who was a member there at Faith Baptist, and you were the guest speaker.
And why were you there?
I was there because 60 days prior to that, I'd gone through a pretty traumatic experience with my 3-year-old daughter who had found herself in the hospital. She was diagnosed with pneumonia. So while they treated her, they sent us home, but ultimately she wasn't getting better. So we rushed her to Lutheran General, and she spent 7 days in Lutheran General. Throughout that 7 days, I had spent a tremendous amount of time in the hospital chapel. I knew why I was there, but I didn't have a relationship with God. I didn't grow up in a religious household.
So you're making a bargain in the chapel?
Made a bargain in the chapel. And I had committed that if God would help me to take my daughter home safely from the hospital, that I would seek out the Lord. And so shortly thereafter, I asked Tom, my coworker, if he would mind if my family and I went to church with him, and that's how we ended up at Faith Baptist.
So you show up on the Sunday that I'm there, talking about that we're going to be starting a new church in Antioch, and you say, I'm in, which is amazing to me. I'm watching, from my perspective, that God is pursuing you. You're part of our first many years. You were involved in driving our truck and setting up equipment and all kinds of things, right? And during that time, you heard about the invitation of Jesus, but it wasn't something you were ready for. What was holding you back?
I think there were a number of things that were holding me back. One is probably just ignorance, right? I didn't understand. As I said, I didn't grow up in a religious household. I didn't understand the story of Jesus. I didn't understand the books of the Bible. So I resisted, right? I was a kind of a self-made guy, didn't need help. I also, I didn't know if I could live the lifestyle. I didn't know if I could be sin-free. That was my, right, my understanding, right? Could I be sin-free day in and day out? And didn't know if I could do that, and I didn't want to be a hypocrite. And then there was a level of pride as well, right? I didn't need this, but I had made this commitment, right? So I was there every Sunday, right? And setting up music and so forth. And I was trying really hard to fulfill my commitment, but it was hard.
Yeah. And you and I had many lunches, played golf together a lot, took a road trip together. I remember having so many spiritual conversations. In my own spirit, sometimes I felt like I was almost pleading with you. Many prayers spent for you, but at that point in time, it just wasn't right. And from my perspective, it felt like you were resisting. What did waiting to respond to that invitation cost you?
Waiting certainly cost me relationships. It cost me my marriage. I had been married for 30 years. The ripple effect of that fractured the relationships with my children, with friends, and others as well. So it was a life-changing event for me in the relationships that I had fostered for years and years and years.
Yeah. So after many years of being away from our church and kind of out of my life, you resurface, and I'm watching the Lord drawing you in a new way. We're talking about it along the way. And I remember we had a defining conversation in my office about a new life in Jesus versus an improved life. Tell us a little bit about that.
What you're asking is, did I resist that? And the answer is yes. I didn't want to necessarily sacrifice or abandon the good qualities, right, that had led to so many successes for me in my life. My debate was, why do I have to give that up to become new? Why can't I just be new and improved? It took me a while to recognize that and to really just surrender myself.
Yeah, so I watched that process. The Lord took you to that place where you were ready to surrender to Him, but it was a hard one for you. Tell us just a little bit about what the Lord did to bring you to that place where you were ready to surrender to Him.
2021 was a rough period for me. I'd lost my marriage, right? My divorce was final in June of 2021. I had resigned my position in corporate America where I'd spent 30 years. So kind of my persona and my purpose now was pushed to the side. I started a new business, yes, but later in the year, I had some some deaths. I lost both my parents in late 2021, and two very close uncles as well. All passed away within a 6 to 7 month period. I did all 4 of their eulogies in that period. So that was pretty tragic. And, on top of that, there were some other just life decisions, probably that I made, where I didn't use the best of judgment and so forth, that had kind of put me in this spot of there's got to be something more and better than where I am today.
So I watched you kind of walk this path of, just softening your heart, humbling yourself before God, becoming broken, this seemingly, from my perspective, this 20 or 25 years of resistance to this. I watched you kind of come to this place where you finally were willing to bend your knee and say, I need Jesus. That was about a year ago. What's life been like for you since then?
I'm still on the journey, and I'll probably always be on the journey, right? I've found kind of this inner peace. I feel like I have a partner with me to respond to and to help me to deal with difficult times or tough decisions, things like that. That has helped me, and it's helped me to deepen my faith, and it's encouraged me to continue down the path and even become more informed, be more of a participant, be more benevolent, be more involved here in the church.
Yeah, right? Watch you use your gifts in really significant ways already in the life of our church. It's making a huge impact. Yeah, there's other people like you out there, probably even today, men and women,
sure,
wrestling with this idea of like surrendering my life to Jesus. Fearful about what that means, maybe a little bit of that prideful sense of like, I just want to do it on my own. I don't want to have to communicate that I really need God. What would you say to them?
It's worth the journey, and that the other side is so much more fulfilling. I wish I had done it sooner. The happiness that I've been seeking, like I said, I feel like I have a partner that's helping me to get there.
I mean, to me, you are a living example of what Jesus said, that he who wants to save their life will lose it, but he who loses their life for my sake will find it. And I'm just watching you finding life, and it brings me more joy than you know.
Thank you.